Okay. Can you see it now? Kita ba? Okay. So this is section C. Once again, good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Michelle Gamboa, and for this morning, we will be discussing about the conduct of normal labor and delivery. All right? So simply put it this way, yung patient na inalagaan ng OB from the time na she presented for prenatal care, no, sa OPD or sa clinics until the time she goes into labor. This is now the endpoint. No? Manganganak na yung pasyente nyo. Now, we will focus on a patient who is about to deliver, and if this patient na who is about to deliver goes to the ER, dinala mo sa labor room, ano ba yung ginagawa namin doon, no? As OB. So basically, you know what labor means. So it's defined as a process that leads to childbirth and begins with regular uterine contraction, ends with the delivery of the newborn, as well as expulsion of the placenta. All right? Is that clear? Okay. So are you done with the parturition, the topic of parturition? Okay, so tapos na kayo dyan. It has been mentioned that parturition has 4 phases, right? You have phase 1, quiescence, phase 2, activation, phase 3, stimulation, and phase 4, involution. Now, phase 3 is the actual process of labor and delivery, and under this phase, you have the 3 stages of labor. Diniscuss din naman yun, di ba? Diniscuss ba yun? Okay. Kindly acknowledge ha, kasi syempre hindi ko alam kung nakikinig kayo. Yung iba, noo lang yung nakikita ko. No? Si John lang yung nakita kong tumatango-tango. Okay? Now, malinaw yon yung parturition, and under phase 3, nandun yung 3 stages of labor. Alright. So, what is critical to the route of delivery is, of course, the position of the fetus with respect to the birth canal. Thus, yung position should be determined in early labor. No? Kaya nga tayo nag-Lulupol's maneuver, nag-AIE, no? Para alam mo kung ano yung position ng baby. Manganganak ba to? Pwede ba tong manganak ng normal delivery? Okay? So, important relationships of the fetus and the birth canal would include the following. So, you have fetal lie, fetal presentation, no, attitude, as well as position. So, again, ano ba yung pwesto ng bata in relation to the mother? Now, we discuss first fetal lie. Okay, so again, this is the relationship of the fetal long axis to that of the mother. And in more than 99% of labors at term, the fetal lie is said to be longitudinal, pahaba. Okay? Occasionally, the fetal and the maternal axis may cross at a 45-degree angle. So, this will form an oblique lie, patagilid. Okay, 45-degree yung angle niya. And this is said to be unstable kasi pwede siyang mag-longitudinal, pwedeng mag-transverse. Okay? Now, for transverse lie, there are predisposing factors. One is multiparity. Pag masyado ng madaming beses nanganak yung pasyente mo, syempre maluwag na yung uterus, pwede nang humalang yung baby, no, maging transverse. Or if there is placenta previa, ano ba yung placenta previa? Yung inunan nasa lower uterine segment, nakahalang doon sa cervix. Okay? Kaya humahalang din yung bata, nagta-transverse lie. Or if there is hydramnios, what is hydramnios? Masyadong madami yung amniotic fluid. Okay? And other certain uterine anomalies na maliit yung sa may fundal area, kaya nagta-transverse yung position ng baby. Okay, this is a picture of a transverse lie. So, iyan yung buntes. Makikita nyo, mas malapad yung sa mga sides. No? And this is less frequent, and the predisposing factors are, yun nga, yung multiparity, placenta previa, hydramnios, and uterine anomalies. Now, for fetal presentation, this is the portion of the fetal body that is either foremost within the birth canal or in closest proximity to it. So look at the table as well as the pictures. So for the presentation, you have cephalic or ulo, yung nauuna, breech or puwet. No? Transverse line, nakahalang. Compound is when an extremity is in close proximity to the presenting part. No? Later on the next slide, I'll be showing you a picture of a compound presentation. And then, pwede ring face na pag inai mo, yung chin ng bata yung makakapa mo. And lastly, you have brow presentation. And the most common as seen in this table is, of course, cephalic followed by bridge. Okay? So, this is a picture of a compound presentation. Again, this is when an extremity, usually a hand or less commonly a foot, no, yung paa, lies alongside the head. Ito yung ulo, tapos meron siyang extremity, no? It's either the hand or less commonly the foot. Right? Maliwanag ba yon? Can you follow? Okay. So, for cephalic, there are also classifications, no, ng cephalic presentation. And look at this sa picture. This is yung letter A, it's vertex. B, it's sinciput. C, brow. And for the last picture, you have the face presentation. And these presentations are classified according to the relationship between the head and the body of the fetus. So titignan nyo, ordinarily kasi yung fetal head is flexed sharply. Okay? So naka-flex siya sharply. And the chin should be in contact to the thorax. So anong magre-present? Yung occipital fontanelle ang makakapa, no, pag when you do your internal examination. So the occipital fontanelle is the presenting part. So ang tawag doon is vertex or occiput presentation. Okay? So the next picture, letter B, you see that the fetal head is only partly flexed. And yung anterior or large fontanelle ang nagpe-present when you do your internal examination. So you call that sinciput presentation. Now, letter C is brow presentation. It is when the neck is only partially extended naman, hindi flex extended. And yung brow yung mag-e-emerge. And much less often, yung fetal neck may be sharply extended as shown in this last picture, yung letter D. No? So, yung occiput niya and the back come into contact. So, anong makakapa? No? Yung face, yung muka, no? Yung chin is foremost in the birth canal. So, you call that face presentation. Is that clear? Yung cephalic, so meron siyang apat, no? Vertex, sinciput, brow, and face. So, for bridge presentation, you have three types, complete, frank, and footling, no, as shown in this picture. So pag complete, you see that both hips are flexed, no, and one or both knees are flexed. So iyan yung complete bridge. If it's frank, lower extremities are flexed at the hips and extended naman siya sa knees. Okay? Excuse me. Now for footling, one or both hips are extended. And this bridge presentation may result from circumstances that prevent normal version from taking place, such as if you have a patient with the uterine septum or if the placenta is implanted in the lower uterine segment na di-distort yung normal intrauterine anatomy. Okay? So, meron din tayong tinatawag na incomplete bridge, no? When one or both hips are extended and as a result, one or both feet or knees, they lie below the bridge such that a foot like this one, no, or knee is lowermost in the birth canal. So incomplete bridge. And the footling bridge is an incomplete bridge, no, with one or both feet below the bridge. Okay? So among the three, yung footling, this one, tingin dito, among the three, pag tinanong kayo ano yung pwedeng ma-CS dyan? Kasi ito, pwede mo pa siyang i-trial ng normal, sorry, it's not normal, it's breech delivery. Okay? Breech extraction. So, alin dito yung dapat CS na agad? Sa tingin nyo? Jessie, you want to answer? Guess.
Yung footling po, Doc.
Very good. Bakit? Sa tingin mo, ano ba yung mangyayari pag yung isang paa niya nakahalang dyan sa vagina? No? Tas hinatak mo. Ano yung pwedeng sumama? Ano ba yung nandito? Ayan, no? Ano yan?
Placenta. Ay, yung cord po.
Yes.
Cord.
The umbilical cord, no? Mako-compress or pwedeng mag-prolapse. Paghatak mo ng paa, sasama yung cord, no? Magko-cord prolapse, syempre mako-compromise yung blood flow to the baby. Okay? So, usually, if it's footling breech, CS na yan. Okay? So, next is fetal attitude. No? So, as a rule, yung fetus forms an ovoid, no, ovoid mass that corresponds sharply to the shape of the uterine cavity. So fetus becomes folded upon itself to create a convex back. No, yung head niya is sharply flexed. Sabi natin, yung chin almost in contact with the chest. Yung arms dapat across the thorax or parallel to the sides. Yung thighs flexed over the abdomen, and the umbilical cord fills the space in between the extremities as shown in this picture. So this is also known as habitus, yung fetal attitude, and this is the characteristic posture in the later months of pregnancy. Now look at this picture. Nakita nyo yung pasyenteng nagle-labor, you put it in a dorsal lithotomy position. Kaya pag sinabihan kayo na, halimbawa, you go into your clerkship na, no? Mag-clerk na kayo, sabihin, oh sige doc, ilagay mo na, put your patient in a dorsal lithotomy position. So paano ba yon? So ayan yung stirrups. Okay? Make sure pantay. Alright? So if you can put a towel underneath, so mas better. Usually padded naman yung mga stirrups na yan. Okay? So look, these are now the orientation, no? So syempre yung nandito sa taas, ito yung symphysis pubis, that is anterior. Posterior sa likod, ito yung sacrum. Okay? So yung laterality, right or left? Okay, ang bida dito yung mother. Okay, hindi yung surgeon, hindi kayo. So dapat right of the mother, left of the mother. Naintindihan? Kasi syempre pag nakaharap ka sa pasyente, yan, nakaharap ka dyan, ganyan, ito yung right mo ng surgeon kung ikaw yung magpapaanak, di ba? Di ba? So again, hindi ikaw ang bida. Ang bida yung mother. So right ng mother, left ng mother ang orientation. Kasi that's how you palpate for the position of the baby. Okay? So the presenting part, the nature and the position should be positively determined. Okay. So just review. Nag-ano na kayo, bony pelvis, di ba? Tama? Tapos na yan sa anatomy. So a gynecoid is the type of pelvis that is most favorable for vaginal delivery. Tandaan nyo yan. Okay? Because it has a wider and broader diameter, no? Transverse diameter, less prominent yung ischial spines. Okay? In an android pelvis, di ba yun yung heart shape, longer yung sacrum, more narrow yung subpubic arch. Okay? So ano ba yung titignan nyo pag nag-IE kayo? This, no? Number 1, you check for the diagonal conjugate. Naaabot nyo ba siya? Di ba? Pag sinabi mong you reach the diagonal conjugate, di syempre, maiksi yun. Kasi inabot mo eh, naabot mo siya. Ito yan, yung diagonal conjugate. So, the ischial spines should not be prominent. No? Pag kinapa mo yung magkabilang ischial spines, dapat hindi siya yung matulis na nakakapa mo. The pelvic sidewall should be divergent. No? Hindi dapat siya convergent. And the sacrum should be deep and deep. No? Pag kinapa mong pa ganun, deep siya. Okay? So, para sabihin mo na adequate yung clinical pelvimetry. Kasi doon pa lang, alam mo na if magde-deliver ba normally yung mother or not. No? Pag kinapa mo, tapos tingin mo maliit, no, yung pelvis niya, hindi adequate. Tapos malaki yung baby. So doon pa lang maiisip mo na pwedeng hindi to mag-normal delivery. May possibility na masi-CS to. Okay, that's why it's very important if the patient is primigravid, meaning first baby niya ito. Okay? So you do your clinical pelvimetry. Alright, ito na yung position. So fetal position is the relationship of an arbitrarily chosen portion of the fetal presenting part to the right or the left side of the birth canal. Again, this is the right side, the left side. So yan yung transverse. Okay? Hatiin nyo rin dito sa gitna. This is the anterior part, di ba? This is the posterior part. So ito yung symphysis pubis, kaya siya anterior. So pag nandito yung ano bang fontanel yung kinakapa nating importante para sabihin mo yung position. Di ba you have two fontanels? Yung isa diamond, yung isa triangle. So alin doon ang importante sa position? Yes, Dalawa lang pagpipilian mo, triangle, diamond.
Yung diamond, Doc.
Sorry, mali. Okay. So dahil hindi yung diamond, yung triangle. Okay? Tandaan nyo, that is the lesser fontanelle, which is important. So the determining points in vertex is the occiput. So yung face, yung mentum. For the bridge, it's the sacrum. And pag shoulder, no, yung transverse, it's the acromion. Now with each presentation, syempre, there are two positions. Kasi meron kang right, meron kang left. And because the presenting part may either be in left or right, there are left and right occipital, left and right mental, left and right sacral designations. Okay? Also, yung relationship of a given portion of the presenting part to the anterior, ito yung anterior, this one is the transverse or posterior portion of the maternal pelvis is considered. O look at this picture. Ito yung sinasabi kong diamond, ito yung anterior fontanelle, and this is the triangle or the posterior fontanelle. Ito yung kinakapa natin na importante to determine the position. Maliwanag ba yon? Is that clear? Okay. Now look at this. So you see here, nasaan na yung triangle? Sige nga, Oliver.
Yes po, Doc.
Saan?
Sa posterior po.
Posterior.
I mean, yung posterior fontanelle po yung triangle.
Yes. Nasaan? Nasaan siyang side? Nasaan position?
Sa left side po, Doc. Kung
Okay.
dito po babasihan.
Ayan, nakita nyo na yung sa arrow. Tama ka, Oliver. This is the left side, di ba? So ano siya? Anterior ba or posterior? Kasi di ba, lalagyan mo to ng line para to designate where is the anterior or the posterior. So nasaan siya?
Kung dito sa picture, Doc, posterior
Yes.
po.
Posterior, Oliver. Ito yung transverse
Ay, oo nga
line.
pala,
Diba?
anterior
Dito
pala.
yung anterior. Kasi above the transverse line. Diba? Nakita mo? So this is left, yung occiput. Kaya ito na yan eh. Left, kasi left side ng mother. Occiput. Okay? Kasi ayun yung triangular or the lesser fontanelle. And it is anterior. Kasi above siya nung transverse line. Maliwanag ba yon? Nakikita ba nung iba? Justin, are you with us?
Yes po, Doc.
So nakita mo, left, occiput, anterior. So ito yan. Okay? Do you follow? And remember, approximately 2/3 of all the vertex presentations are in the left occiput, posterior position. 1/3 lang yung nandun sa right occiput, anterior. Okay? So in this picture naman, Angela, what is the fetal lie? Angela, are you with us?
Oblique po.
Oblique? Ito, oblique ba yan?
Ay, hindi po. Longitudinal po.
Okay, baka ibang picture yung tinitignan mo. So,
Yeah.
longitudinal yan. Okay. And what is the presentation? Vertex. What is the position? Ito yan. The fetus is in left occiput anterior position. Is that clear, class? Maliwanag? Okay. So, again, ito lang din yan. Ito yung titignan nyo, yung triangle, nasa left side ng mother, nasaan siya above the transverse line. So, anterior, and yun yung occiput. So left occiput anterior. Okay? Now, these are the different presentation. Ganun ulit, left occiput anterior kasi ayun yung triangle. So ito naman, nasaan siya? Nasaan yung triangle? Nasa left side pa rin, occiput, pero posterior kasi nasa baba ng transverse line. Do you follow? Now, sa third picture, nasaan yung triangle? Ito siya. So right side naman, occiput, and then baba ng transverse line, kaya posterior na siya. Okay? Now this one, right pa din, pero nandun siya sa transverse line. So right occiput, transverse. Okay? Now this one naman, dahil breech siya, so sacrum. Nasa left side, left sacrum, tapos posterior. Okay? Pag face presentation, so sabi natin yung chin ang determining point mo dyan. Nasaan yung chin? Okay. So, look at this. Nasaan yung chin nitong first picture? Joanne. Nasaan yung chin niya? Saang side ng mother?
The left side po.
Okay, left. And then, dahil chin siya, so mentum. And then, Selena, is it anterior or posterior?
Anterior po, Doc.
Very good. So left mentum anterior. Maliwanag na yon. This one naman, second picture, nasa right side na yung chin. So right mentum anterior. O this one, sa last picture, nasaan yung chin? Nasa right side pa rin. Mentum, nasaan na yung position niya? Is it anterior or posterior? Nasa baba na ng transverse line, kaya posterior na. Okay, maliwanag sa face presentation. Now, for transverse position, acromion. Diba? Sabi natin. So, transverse lie, ito yung acromion niya. So, right, nasa right side ng mother, acromio, dorso, posterior. Okay? Ito yan. Nasa posterior. Okay? Is that clear? So, the fetus is in the transverse lie. Yun yung lie niya, di ba? Transverse. Hindi siya naka-longitudinal. Tandaan nyo. Ha? So, transverse lie. And then, right, acromio, dorso, posterior. The shoulder of the fetus is to the mother's right and the back is posteriorly located. Okay? Maliwanag na yun, ha? So, how do you diagnose these positions? Now, number one, you can do it by performing your Leupold's maneuver. Are you familiar with Leupold's? Na-discuss na to sa prenatal care? Okay, so may idea na kayo sa Leupold's, pero i-discuss ko pa rin. Next is you perform your vaginal examination. Okay? And lastly, you can do your ultrasound or yung x-ray. But we do away with performing x-ray kasi nga syempre may radiation to the baby. Okay? And then ultrasound, syempre, hindi naman lahat ng centers, no? Halimbawa, doctor ka to the barrio, di ba? Nandun ka sa bundok, walang ultrasound. So, as simple as performing Leupold's maneuver and doing your vaginal examination, pwede mo nang ma-determine yung presentation ng baby. Okay? So, just a review. These are your Leupold's maneuver. You have L1, L2, L3, and L4. L1 is the fundal grip, L2 lumbar, L3 pollex, and L4 is the pelvic grip. So, ganyan yan. Tandaan nyo, 1, 2, and 3, nakaharap kayo sa ulo ng mommy. L4, you are facing the mother's feet. Okay? Maliwanag ba yon? Now, look at this. Yan yung sa fundal grip. Ano yung gusto mong i-identify? What occupies the fundus? Okay? So, if the breech is occupying the fundus, ito, kagaya niyan, ano ba yung nag-o-occupy sa fundus? Joanne, Casabar. Anong nag-o-occupy sa fundus?
The fetal pole.
Fetal pole? What fetal pole occupies? It's either, breech ba yan or head?
Head po.
Head. Ito yung head, iha. So ano to? Sinakita mo yun yung head, ayun yung ears, di ba? So what is this? That is the
Breech.
yes. Okay? So ito, you see that the breech is occupying the fundus. Kasi ito yung fundus, di ba? This is the uterus. Pag ganyan yan, nandito sa taas yung fundus. Is that clear? So the breech, you describe it as a large nodular mass. Clear ba yun, Joanne?
Yes po, Doc.
Okay. For the head, you describe it as a hard, round, mobile. Pag may nakita kayong ballotable mass, that is the fetal head. Okay? So again, that is L1. L2, lumbar grip, you want to determine the fetal orientation. What occupies the maternal sides? Okay? Ano yung nasa right side? Ano yung nasa left side? Siyempre, it's either the back or the small parts, the extremities. Okay? So, yung back, you describe it as hard, resistant structure sa extremities, numerous, small, irregular, mobile parts. Now, in this picture, sige nga, Yesa, where is the fetal back?
Nasa left side po ng mother.
Very good. Okay, so dahil ang back ay nasa left side, nasa right side yung fetal extremities or small parts. Is that clear, class? All right. Now, L3 is Pollitt's grip. Okay, so this confirms the fetal presentation as well as if the head is already engaged or not. So pag engaged, hindi nyo na siya masyadong magagalaw. Okay? So ito, nako-confirm niya ngayon na ang presentation is cephalic and if it's engaged, hindi na siya, medyo fixed na siya, no, sa pelvis. Pero pagka hindi siya engaged, nagagalaw pa siya. It's still movable and nagba-bounce pa siya sa pelvis. Okay? Now for L4, it's the pelvic grip. It determines the degree of descent. And again, in this maneuver, you have to face the mother's feet. Is that clear? Now, for the vaginal examination, so ito yung IE, internal examination. Utang na loob, don't call it finifinger. Okay? Kasi may mga ganong pasyente na fifingerin niyo po ba ako? No? So, i-correct niyo sila. IE po ang gagawin, hindi po yun finger. Okay? So, for vaginal examination, this is how you diagnose the fetal presentation as well as the exact position. Now, before labor, the fetal presentation and position is often inconclusive, no? Because you have to palpate the presenting part in a closed cervix. Hindi pa siya nagle-labor eh. So, close yung cervix. So, medyo mahirap i-determine yung exact na position. But once labor starts and the cervix dilates, yung vertex presentations and positions are recognized by palpation of the various fetal sutures as well as the fontanelle. Okay? So again, yung fontanelle, anong fontanelle ang importante para sa position na dinedetermine natin? Jessie?
Posterior fontanelle po, Doc.
Okay, very good. So the picture here shows that, so ano ba yung nakikita niyo sa picture? Wait, so it shows how to locate the sagittal suture. So this is the sagittal suture. Okay? By vaginal examination and the one below, it shows how to differentiate the fontanelles by vaginal examination. Okay? Yun kasi yung magiging guide nyo. Now, what do you do in a vaginal examination? You identify the presenting part. If it's vertex, direct your finger posteriorly and sweep forwards towards the maternal symphysis pubis. No? Identify the position of the two fontanelles at either end of the sagittal suture and again, identify the station of the presenting part. This one, yung station, ano bang magiging landmark nyo sa station? Do you have any idea? Narinig nyo na ba yung fetal station? Hindi pa. Yesa, narinig nyo na ba yon sa lecture station?
Yes po, Doc.
Okay, so it is the ischial spines, no? Pag yung ulo nasa level ng ischial spines, that is station 0. So later I'll show you a picture kung ano yung mga stations. Now we go on to the cardinal movements of labor. So this is called the mechanism of labor. Yung positional changes ng presenting part required to navigate the pelvic canal. Okay? Kasi makikita nyo yan habang nagle-labor, umiikot yung ulo. So yun yung cardinal movements of labor. So, and these are as follows. No? You have 7. So tandaan nyo, kailangan kasi sunod-sunod yan. Okay? In sequence. So engagement, descent, flexion, internal rotation, extension. Pag nasa labas na siya, external rotation, and then expulsion. Alright? So first is engagement. This is the mechanism by which yung biparietal diameter, okay, that is the greatest transverse diameter of the fetal head would pass through the pelvic inlet. Okay? And the fetal head may engage during the last few weeks of pregnancy or not until after the commencement of labor. So we say that the head is floating, no? If the fetal head is freely movable above the pelvic inlet at the onset of labor. Pag kinapa mo, pag nag-perform ka ng Leupold's maneuver at nagbabounce pa yung ulo, floating pa yan. O pag nag-IE ka rin na ipupush mo pa yung ulo ng baby, nagbabounce pa, that is still floating. Okay? The fetal head usually enters the pelvic inlet either transversely or obliquely. Okay? So this picture now shows a fetal head that is floating. Hindi pa siya naka-engage. Nakita nyo may space pa dito. Okay? So this one, anong position ng fontanelle niya? Left occiput anterior. Okay? Now, after that, di ba sabi natin engagement, descent. Okay? So bumaba na siya, nakita nyo. Compared to this one, may space pa. This one, wala na. Bumaba na. Nag-descend na. Okay? And with that, mag-flex yung chin. It will come into contact sa thorax. Okay? So, still, the fetus is in the left occiput anterior position. Now, with descent, this is the first requisite for birth of the newborn. And inaliparas, yung hindi pa nanganganak ng normal delivery. No? Engagement may take place before the onset of labor, meaning kahit hindi pa siya nagle-labor, pwedeng bumababa na yan. Hindi pa nagdadilate yung cervix, bumababa na yung ulo. And further descent may not follow until the onset of the second stage. Pero pag madami ng beses ng anak, multiparous women, yung descent usually begins with engagement. Okay? Now, descent is brought about by one or more of 4 forces. Now, one is pressure of the amniotic fluid. Number 2 is direct pressure of the fundus upon the breech, no, with contractions. And pwede din yung bearing down efforts of the maternal abdominal muscles and extension and straightening of the fetal body. Okay? So this one naman, the next cardinal movement of labor is flexion. So yung chin again is brought into more intimate contact with the fetal thorax by the resistance met along the pelvis. So initially yung occipitofrontal, ito yung diameter. So mas malaki kasi siya. Pag nag-flex, magiging suboccipitobregmatic diameter. Tandaan nyo tong SOB. Suboccipitobregmatic diameter. So nakita nyo, comparing occipitofrontal and suboccipitobregmatic, look at the picture. Alin ang mas maliit ang diameter? Marie de la Cruz.
Suboccipitobregmatic.
Okay, very good. Kasi syempre gusto mo mag-flex siya, mas lumiit yung diameter para mas magkasya siya dun sa dadaanan niya sa pelvis. Maliwanag? Kasi ang occipitofrontal is 12 cm. This suboccipitobregmatic is 9.5 centimeters only. Remember, yung ischial spines, no? 10 cms. So kaya dapat less than that. So pag nag-flex siya, nagiging suboccipitobregmatic, again 9.5 cm. Mas kasya na siya doon. Okay? So, this one, further descent, and then iikot na siya, internal rotation. So nakita nyo kanina nandito siya sa left occiput. Ngayon, still left occiput, pero umiikot. Papunta kasi siya dito sa anterior position, just below the symphysis pubis. Okay? So for internal rotation, that is the gradual turning of occiput away from the transverse axis. Diba? Dito yung transverse axis. Okay? So this is essential for the completion of labor except when the fetus is unusually small. Now, in most cases, the vertex enters the pelvis in the transverse pelvic diameter, more commonly in the left occiput transverse. Okay? More than the right occiput transverse. So this movement, as I mentioned, will gradually turn the occiput away from the transverse axis. And usually the occiput rotates anteriorly towards the symphysis pubis, but less commonly it may rotate posteriorly towards the hollow of the sacrum. Look at this next picture. This is complete rotation. So kanina, di ba, left occiput anterior, ngayon nasa occiput anterior na siya. Nakita sa picture? Okay. So complete rotation na siya. So this will be followed by extension. So nakita nyo, palabas na yung head, no? When the head presses upon the pelvic floor. So yung two forces come into play. The force exerted by the uterus, which acts more posteriorly, and the next force is supplied by the resistant pelvic floor and the symphysis, which acts more anteriorly. Okay? So the resultant vector is nasaan? Sa direction of the vulvar opening, thereby causing head extension, and this brings the base of the occiput. Ito yung base ng occiput into direct contact with the inferior margin of the symphysis. So this is the symphysis pubis. Okay? So that is extension. So look at this. Ayan na, complete extension. Now, next is external rotation or restitution. No? So the delivered head undergoes restitution. If the occiput was originally directed towards the left, it rotates towards the left ischial tuberosity. Kung halimbawa naman originally nakadirect siya towards the right, so yung occiput will rotate to the right. And this movement is important because it corresponds to rotation of the fetal body and serves to bring its bisacromial diameter into relation with the AP diameter of the pelvic outlet. Okay? So after external rotation, you have expulsion. Now, almost immediately after external rotation, the anterior shoulder appears under the symphysis pubis, and the perineum soon becomes distended by the posterior shoulder, and after the delivery of the shoulders, the rest of the body quickly passes. So look at this picture. You deliver the anterior shoulder. So ito yung anterior shoulder, followed by, so pababa yon. Pag dineliver nyo yung anterior shoulder, hahatakin nyo yung baby pababa. Now, the delivery of the posterior shoulder, hahatakin nyo naman yung baby pataas. Okay? Is that clear? Now, next is asynclitism. What is asynclitism? Before we discuss that, let's define what is normal synclitism. So, yung synclitism refers to the relative orientation of the sagittal suture, no, to the transverse axis of the pelvic inlet. Whereas the sagittal suture, while remaining parallel to that axis, may not lie exactly midway between the symphysis and the sacral promontory. Okay? So, nagkakaroon ng asynclitism if there is lateral deflection of the head, either to a more anterior or posterior position in the pelvis. So you have two types, anterior or posterior asynclitism. We say it's anterior pag ang sagittal suture niya would approach the sacral promontory. No? And more of the anterior parietal bone presents itself to the examining fingers, you call that anterior asynclitism. It's posterior if the sagittal suture lies closely to the symphysis pubis. Okay, and more of the posterior parietal bone will present, you call that posterior asynclitism. Is that clear? Okay. So, what is occiput posterior? So, here, in approximately 20% of labors, the fetus enters the pelvis in an occiput posterior position. So yung right occiput posterior is slightly more common than in the left occiput posterior. In most occiput posterior presentation, yung mechanism of labor is identical to that observed in the transverse and anterior variety. Except that, sa occiput posterior kasi, it has to internally rotate to the pelvis through 135 degree instead of 90 and 45 degree respectively. What do I mean by that? Tingin sa picture. Di ba pagka nasa transverse ka or anterior position, para mapunta ka sa, pag nasa left occiput anterior, para mapunta ka sa occiput anterior, ilan ang i-rotate? 45 degrees lang, di ba? Tingin sa picture. Pero pag nasa transverse, para mag-rotate ka sa left occiput anterior, 45 degrees, and mapunta ka sa occiput anterior, another 45 degrees, so that is 90 degrees. Okay, na rotation. Pero pag nasa right occiput posterior ang position, right occiput posterior para maging right occiput transverse 45 degrees, another 45 degrees para magpunta siya sa right occiput anterior, and another 45 degrees para mapunta sa occiput anterior. Kaya pag in-add nyo lahat yan, 135 degrees ang kailangang i-rotate ng baby na nasa right occiput posterior para mapunta sa occiput anterior. Is that clear? Okay. Now, what is caput succedaneum? Ito yung swelling. No? Pag nagli-labor yung mother, diba? Pababa na ng pababa yung ulo. Minsan may maririnig kayo, sasabihin ng residente, ay may caput na. So ano yan? Ito, yung picture na yan. Oh. Swelling of portion of the fetal scalp immediately over the os, dun sa most dependent portion. No? And this is seen in prolonged labors before complete cervical dilatation. So caput yan. But what is molding? Ang molding, there is a change in the fetal head shape from external compressive forces. And this results to shorter suboccipitobregmatic diameter and lengthened mento-vertical diameter. Okay? So what is labor? Normal labor characteristic, dapat uterine contractions that bring about demonstrable effacement. Numinipis yung cervix and nagda-dilate, nag-open yung cervix. Okay? So you have the first stage of labor which has preparatory, dilatational, and pelvic division. There are 3 stages of labor. So in the first stage, Friedman developed the concept of 3 functional labor divisions to describe the physiological objectives of each division. So sa preparatory, yung cervix, nagpe-prepare pa lang eh. So it dilates a little. Its connective tissue components change considerably. Pero pag nagbigay ka ng sedation and analgesia, this is capable of arresting this division of labor. Ibig sabihin, may mga contraction. Binigyan mo ng anesthesia or sinedate mo, nawala yung contraction, nasa preparatory division pa lang siya. No? Hindi pa siya talagang nagle-labor. Dilatational division is when the dilatation proceed at its most rapid rate and is unaffected by sedation or conduction analgesia. Meaning, nagdadilate, sinedate mo or binigyan mo ng analgesia, hindi nawala yung contraction, nandun na siya sa dilatational division. Talagang nagle-labor na yung pasyente mo. Oh, remember this, pelvic division commences with the deceleration phase of cervical dilatation and yung diniscuss nating cardinal fetal movements it takes place in this pelvic division. Kaya yung mga diniscuss natin, engagement, descent, internal rotation, like yung mga ganon, hindi yan makikita sa preparatory and dilatational division. Tandaan nyo saan nakikita ang cardinal movements of labor. It starts during the pelvic division. Is that clear? Okay. Now, during the latent phase, this corresponds to preparatory division. And the onset of latent is the point which mother perceives regular uterine contraction. And yung ACOG and the Society of Maternal Fetal Medicine in 2019 states that active labor begins at 6 cm. Okay? So, meron tayong tinatawag na prolonged latent phase pag umabot na ng 20 hours. No? 20 hours na nagle-labor yung pasyente mo sa nulipara, yung hindi pa nanganganak ng kahit isang beses. Kaya nga nalipara siya. And 14 hours in multipara, yung marami ng beses nanganak. No? So, pag more than 14 hours na siya, prolonged latent phase na yun. And what are the factors that affects the latent phase? You have excessive sedation. Sobra ka, bigay ka ng bigay ng sedation or epidural analgesia. No, nawawala yung contraction. Unfavorable yung cervix, meaning hindi talaga nagle-labor yung pasyente mo. And false labor. Okay? Now, pag active labor, this corresponds to the dilatational division and the cervical dilatation of 3 to 6 centimeters or more in the presence of uterine contraction represent the threshold for active labor. Okay? So meaning, nag 3 cms na, tapos tuloy-tuloy ang contraction regular, no? Nagda-dilate tuloy-tuloy yung cervix mo, nagsa-start na siya into active labor. Pero yung sinabi ko kaninang active labor at 6 cm, that is yung medyo meron kasi siyang overlap. No? So if you look at this, active labor begins at 6 cm. Pero actually, yung active labor, it starts or it begins na with 3 cm. Pero sasabihin mo siyang nasa active labor na talaga yung pasyente pag nag-reach siya ng 6 cm. Bakit ganun? Kasi meron mga iba, sini-CS agad, 4 cm pa lang, 5 cm pa lang, hindi pa talaga active na nagle-labor yung pasyente. Kaya dapat at least nasa 6 cm na para sabihin mong active labor na at hindi nagpo-progress. Ibig sabihin, talagang nagle-labor yung pasyente, hindi nagtuloy-tuloy yung dilatation, pwede mo na siyang i-CS. Hindi ka magsi-CS ng below 6 cm. Maliwanag? Okay. Now, the duration for nalipara is 4.9 hours, maximum ng 11.7 hours. But ang importante dito is the cervical dilatation is 1.2 cm per hour. Pag nalipara and multipara, 1.5 cm per hour. So, mas malaki yung idinadilate ng multipara kesa sa nalipara. Okay? So, ito yan ang ka-table. In the first stage, you have latent phase and the active phase. Sabi natin, yung latent phase sa nali, less than 20 hours, multi, less than 14 hours. And the dilatation, 1.2 cm and 1.5 cm sa nali and multi respectively. Pagdating ng second stage, ano ba yung second stage? Full cervical dilatation. Okay? Full cervical dilatation sa nalipara, 50 minutes ang duration, multipara 20 minutes. And sa third stage, it is from the delivery of the baby to the delivery of the placenta. Parehas yan, 15 to 30 minutes, whether nully or multipara. So pag more than 30 minutes, hindi pa lumalabas ang placenta, then you have to manually extract the placenta. Okay? Now this one, abnormal labor patterns, no, yung mga prolonged disorder, yung prolonged latent phase, sinabi ko yung more than 20, more than 14, protracted yung active phase dilatation, protracted descent, less than 1 cm per hour or less than 2 cm per hour, pag nali and multipara. Okay, so yung mga arrest disorders, you will discuss this more sa dystocia. Okay, sa patho-OB. So just to emphasize, a woman who is in labor, again, meron siyang 3 stages, di ba? First is from the perception of regular uterine contraction to full cervical dilatation. The second stage, from the delivery of di ba, yung from the full cervical dilatation hanggang lumabas yung baby. And then the third stage, from the delivery of the baby to the delivery of the placenta. Maliwanag yon. So si Friedman, look at this. This is the Friedman's curve. It contains the first and the second stage of labor. Okay, this is the first stage, this is the second stage. Kasi full cervical dilatation, 10 cm. Okay? So, once there is regular uterine contraction, she is already in the latent phase. No? And yung latent phase ends when the cervix is already 5 cm. Okay? And pag nag 6 cm na siya, as I mentioned, active phase na, and the active phase ends when the cervix is fully dilated. Okay? And ending of the active phase of the first stage heralds the second stage. Is that clear? Okay, similarly, these stages have several divisions. You have the functional labor division, the preparatory division, the dilatational, as well as the pelvic division. Ito yan, preparatory, dilatational, and pelvic division. So what is the significance of dividing the first and second stage of labor into the following divisions? During the preparatory division, the patient is in labor, pero yung progress niya mabagal. Okay? Hindi mo pa yan oorasan. Now, the purpose of preparatory division is that there is thinning of the cervix, numinipis o nag-e-efface, and it will dilate. Now, the period of rapid dilatation of the cervix occurs in the dilatational division. And in the pelvic division, this is where we expect again the cardinal movements of labor to occur. Okay? So, advanced stage of labor, usually mga 8 to 9 cms. Okay? Now, first stage of labor divided into latent and acceleration phase. Okay? In the preparatory division. Latent ends at 5 cm cervical dilatation. Pwede tong magtagal. This is variable. But once it reaches 6 cm, then that is already the true active phase of labor. So active phase again starts at 6 cm, ends at 10 cm cervical dilatation. Bakit nag-e-end? Because that is already the start of second stage. Now, these phases can also be divided in divisions. So, yun yung sinabi ko kaninang preparatory, preparatory division. The phase of maximum slope is under the dilatational division, and the deceleration phase and the second stage are all under pelvic division. What again is the significance of the pelvic division? Paulit-ulit na yan, this is where the cardinal movements of labor occur. Okay? And the significance of ito tandaan nyo rin, importante rin. Significance of acceleration phase, it determines the outcome of labor. Phase of maximum slope, the efficiency of the machine. Okay? And the deceleration phase is the feto-pelvic disproportion. Okay? Kasya ba yung baby doon sa pelvis? Okay? Now, labor course divided functionally on the basis of dilatation and descent curves. So you have the preparatory, including the latent and acceleration phases, and you have the dilatational, which includes the phase of maximum slope and the pelvic division. So you have the deceleration phase and the second stage, concurrent with the phase of maximum slope of descent. Ito yan. Okay? So, yan, just the same, another picture of Friedman's curve. Ito, yan din yung pinakita kong table kanina. And contractions of true labor. So, this one, contractions occur at regular interval. Tuloy-tuloy na. Yung interval niya, umiiksi, halimbawa, nag-start ng every 5 to 10 minutes ang contraction, pero it gradually shortens 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 4 minutes, nag-occur yung contraction. Intensity gradually increases from mild, moderate, strong. Okay? And pag true labor, yung discomfort nasa back and the abdomen. Kasi pagka false labor, pwedeng nasa abdomen lang yan, masakit lang ang puson, hindi pa nag-radiate sa back. Okay? True labor, the cervix dilates, and if you give sedation, yung discomfort is not stopped by sedation. As opposed to the false labor, irregular pa, matagal pa yung interval, intensity, hindi nababago, pwedeng mild, moderate, discomfort nasa lower abdomen, cervix does not dilate, and discomfort nawawala if you give sedation. Okay? So sa second stage, nasabi na natin, full cervical dilatation and ends with the fetal delivery. Okay? So for the management of normal labor, how do you evaluate? Dumating yung pasyente, i-BP mo, kunin mo yung vital signs. BP, cardiac rate, temperature, RR. You get the fetal heart tones. You do your internal examination. Kung yung mga tests such as yung mga syphilis, HIV, hindi pa nagawa during the prenatal check-up, then i-request mo. Okay? Then you also request for hemoglobin hematocrit determination para alam mo may anemia ba yung pasyente, magpaparedy ka ba ng blood kasi you know that during delivery, whether vaginal or CS, there is blood loss. So para alam mo kung magpaparedy ka ng blood. Okay? So this is how you perform your internal examination. Okay? And Halimbawa, merong ruptured bag of waters. What is the significance of that? Pag hindi naka-fix yung presenting part sa pelvis, pwede kang magkaroon ng cord prolapse. No? And cord compression is greatly increased. So pwede rin nag-rupture yung bag because labor is likely to occur soon, no? If the pregnancy is at or near term. Sorry. And lastly, if the delivery is delayed after the membrane rupture, so pwedeng increased risk for intrauterine and neonatal infection. Kasi nga, wala na siyang protection. So at risk na siya for infection. That's why pag prolonged na ruptured bag, you give antibiotics. So how would you detect the ruptured bag? You do your speculum examination. Makikita mo may pooling ng amniotic fluid sa posterior fornix. O kaya man lumalabas. Pag wala, paubuhin mo yung pasyente. Mother, ubo po kayo. Pag umubo, makita mo may nagsispread. Or you may test the pH of the vaginal fluid. What is the normal pH? Acidic, 4.5 to 5.5. Pero ang amniotic fluid is actually alkaline, no? 7 to 7.5. So, another test is the indicator nitrazine. Simple and fairly reliable. The test papers are impregnated with dye, and the color of the reaction is interpreted by comparison with the standard color chart. So pag ang pH is more than 6.5, meaning ruptured na yung membranes. Pero pwedeng mag-false positive. Halimbawa, may blood or kaya man semen. No? After nag-contact, biglang nag-rupture yung bag, so may semen pa doon, pwedeng mag-false positive. Or if there is an infection such as bacterial vaginosis. Pwede rin mag-false negative. Halimbawa, masyadong konti yung fluid. So, negative yung lalabas dun sa test. Other tests, arborization or ferning ng vaginal fluid, detection of the alpha-fetoprotein, mag-inject ka ng dye which is masyado ng invasive, or yung mga commercially prepared na mga Amnisure, mga ROM+, no? So, yan, available na yan sa atin. Now, for the Bishop scoring, ito i-discuss pa to sa next lecture. Okay? So, in the interest of time, suffice for you to know, sa Bishop scoring, you have 0, 1, 2, 3. So, anong mga determinants niyan? It has 5 characteristics, yung dilatation, effacement, station, consistency ng cervix, and the position. Okay? So, hindi ko na yan iisa-isahin, but tandaan nyo, fully dilated cervix, 10 cms. Okay? Sa cervical effacement, usually we say it's 50% efface or 100% efface, no? Depending on the cervical length. Kasi kung 3 cm, pag sinabi mong 50% efface, 1.5 cm lang na lang yun. Naintindihan? Pero pag sinabi mong fully efface na siya or 100% efface, sobrang nipis na, paper thin. Okay? So ito yung picture niyan. Kita mo yung cervix, not effaced, not dilated. This one, fully effaced, 1 cm dilated, isang finger lang ang papasok. And this third picture, fully effaced, fully dilated to 10 centimeters. Okay? Sa cervical position, whether yung cervix pagpasok mo ng examining finger, anterior ba siya, mid position, or posterior pa. Kinukuwit mo pa siya or sinusungkit mo pa. Okay? So sa consistency, whether it's soft, intermediate, or firm. Sa station, ito yung sinabi ko kanina, station 0 at the level of the ischial spine. So pag sinabi mong station plus 5, it corresponds to the fetal head nasa introitus na. Pero meron kasing third and fifth system. Look at this. Pag third system, dinivide mo lang yung pelvis into 3. Kaya 0 sa ischial spine, anything above it, -1, -2, -3. Pag below the ischial spines, or palabas na sa introitus, +1, +2, +3. Pero pag fifth method, dinivide mo sa 5. Maliwanag ba yon? So pag palabas, +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. And pag +5 na siya, kitang-kita mo na yung head sa introitus. Okay? So, yung sa pag-monitor ng fetal heart tones, pag first stage, sa normal patient, walang comorbidities, meaning hindi tumataas ang BP, walang mga diabetes, every 30 minutes. Sa second stage, every 15 minutes. Pag high risk, yun yung sinabi ko, mga diabetes, tumataas ang BP. Sa first stage, every 15 minutes. Sa second stage, every 5 minutes. Okay? So, I think that ends our lecture for today, unless you have questions. Kasi yung second stage ng labor will be discussed in your, I think, next meeting. Kasi intrapartum kayo after this, di ba? Tama? Okay. Do you have any questions? Malinaw ba ang lecture, ang discussion? Wait, meron palang question. Question po, do you do IE po ba if Braxton Hicks lang po? Okay, Dominic, syempre pagka halimbawa yung pasyente nagpunta sa'yo, Doc, naghihilab-hilab na po kasi. Tatanungin mo muna every ilang minutes. Okay, pag sinabi, Doc, na every 5 to 10 minutes, pwede mo ring i-IE para you get the baseline. Okay, para may idea ka na. Kasi usually we perform internal examination once term na yung pregnancy. Usually 37 weeks, ina-IE mo na yan pag nagpa-check up sa clinic. And then, pag sinabi niyang, Doc, hilab ng hilab, tapos meron na pong lumabas na blood, no, bloody show, okay? So, i-IE mo. But remember, wag kang basta-basta IE ng IE sa may bleeding kung wala kang ultrasound results. Baka mamaya, for all you know, meron palang placenta previa yan. Halimbawa, may mga kasing pasyenteng first check-up sa'yo, no, walang ultrasound, wag kang basta IE ng IE. Kasi baka mamaya, placenta previa, pag IE mo, torrential bleeding yan. Hindi mo na mapipigil. Emergency yon. Okay? May chance po ba na nakaka-PROM po pag IE? Usually hindi. Kasi especially if you do a gentle internal examination, unless siguro napakatulis ng ano mo, ng kuko, no? Kasi usually hindi naman basta-basta yung nag-rupture yung bag of waters. Okay? Kaya nga, it protects the fetus, no? Unless super nipis, pero hindi yan basta-basta magra-rupture pag in-IE. Okay? Any other questions? If there's none, thank you everyone for listening and participating during our question and answer portion. Okay? Thank you, and you may now leave the meeting.
Thank you, Doc.